We are back, and it's time now for us to have a look at the newspapers, see what is being reported. I know a lot of things happened during the weekend, but today we get to have a wrap up of everything and also just know how to pray and also get informed about what is happening in our nation and also beyond. Welcome. This is Hope at Dawn, and my name is Beatrice Nudi.
Yes, my name is George Gishuru, and we start with the Standard, dilemma of having sentence as directed by the courts, even as lawyers and activists mull other options should he decide to ignore the order. He says he will appeal the decision. It's a story you can read on page 4, and I see quotes here attributed to different people. Faith Odhiambo, the LSK president, saying the court has jurisdiction over the acting IG and there are other constitutional avenues we will consider. Caleb Wanga Usalama, executive director, says this is a complex issue. The IG's office is under scrutiny. Someone might file a case to declare him unfit for office. And so we wait and see how this one pans out, because already sentenced to 6 months in jail for contempt of court. That is, if he fails to honor High Court's order to serve 6 months in jail. What now happens? And they're saying the LSK vows to explore legal options if Masengeli defies court's jail order. You can read that on page 4. This is also a story that has also been discussed extensively over the weekend. It's about the Kenya-Germany deal, and it's about the jobs. According to President Ruto, 250,000 Kenyans might now be able to work in Germany under a deal that supposedly they signed. However, the German government came out quite fast, and they said not so fast. And here is what they are saying. What jobs? Germany denies Ruto 250,000 deal. So whereas Kenya and Germany signed a labor deal that will see Kenyans get jobs in Europe, the number being touted is incorrect, according to German officials. So you can read that story on page 2. Yes. And I see German Interior and Homeland Ministry said in a statement that the agreement between Germany and Kenya does not include any numbers or quotas of skilled workers who will have the opportunity to work in our country. So the president said the first recruitment of young people is expected on September 27th. Germany's Interior and Homeland Ministries stated on X the information is false. Wacha sisemi mengi, so read in details. Page 2 of the Standard. The parliament is set to resume its sittings. We still have members of parliament, by the way. Ever since the security breach, watu wanadhani hatuna bunge. Bado tuko na mabunge.
Wako ganga.
Wako wengi sana na wanatraverse wakisema mambo mengi. So IBC tops agenda as parliament resumes. So it is resuming its sittings tomorrow after a month-long recess, with both the National Assembly and Senate having a full entry awaiting members. The constitution of the IBC and consolidation of various bursaries into one fund are some of the key assignments awaiting the two houses. You can read that and what they are expected to be doing. Now, the president is back from Germany, and yesterday he was in Nairobi, then went to Nyeri. And so the special report continues. Remember, it's 2 years, the second anniversary of the Kenya Kwanza government. And so the Standard, they continue with their special report on pages 6, 7, and 8. And they say here, to the president, loyalty supersedes competence. That is what they are reporting. 2 years into his administration, President William Ruto has shown he rewards loyalty, sometimes at the expense of merit. You read that on page 6, 7, and 8.
Okay.
I also see costs why Mpox vaccine will not be available to all. It's on page 11. Still on the page 8, on page 11, I see EPRA ignores court order on fuel levy motorists to pay. So EPRA increased the levy by 7 shillings despite the High Court temporarily stopping the hike. On Saturday, the regulator factored in the levy in pump prices for the next 1 month. So again, we see another court order being flouted by yet another government institution. So you can read that on page 11. Now, the Mount Kenya riddle that Ruto must solve to stay safe in 2027. Opinion is divided on the political consequences of President Ruto replacing Gachagua in 2027 polls. Experts say there are efforts to instigate squabbles and divisions to fragment the vote-rich region. It's on page 10. You can read that story. Then we go to... Sorry?
Yeah, there's actually, you've mentioned something on the same. And I think it will be proper for me to highlight still on that politics of President and Gachagua. I see that presidents and deputies' allies trade accusations during separate events in Nairobi and Kirinyaga. So Gachagua misses event attended by Ruto in backyard. President wants unnamed politicians against campaigning for 2027 demands focus on delivery of pledges that they made. And a quote from him here saying, let us keep off from the 2027 elections and focus on service delivery. It is only God and the people of Kenya who know about 2027. A part of that is very true. It is only God and the people.
That one, totally agree.
Hakuna.
Ni God too. Let me ask, what do they say about what comes around? What do they say?
What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
Because time yake.
Remember 2022?
Yeah.
For him, it was 5 years. So he's now telling us to stop campaigning.
Tuachane.
I remember then President Kenyatta urging his deputy president, then Ruto, stop campaigning, let's work for the people. Alikuwa na traverse. Now, ndio hii.
Vindu vichengaga. Vindu vibadilikanga.
Wow. But also you see Beatrice also, it's quite funny because after the anti-government protests, he has been like campaigning. You know, it's him who has actually been showing, leading by example.
Very true. So now how
he's on top of cars.
You know, how you model something and then expect people not to follow.
Exactly.
They will follow.
They will follow.
So we are learning from the best.
Yes, he's our leader after all. You know. But anyway, we read that.
Yeah.
Na muache siasa 2027 iko mbali.
Ni Mungu na watu ndio watatambua.
Counties, they are saying how chance meeting with Jordan lifted hard boy, now governor. Michael Jordan's mother met young Patrick Olentutu while on safari at the Masai Mara. She offered him university scholarship in the US, an opportunity that changed his life. And then I see the health and science pull-out tragedies condemned me to a life of pain and misery. You can read that as well. Then going to the sports news, Taus Brace sings Gor as Al Ahly dazzle at Nyayo. Gor Mahia FC went down 3-0 against defending champions Al Ahly in the CAF Champions League first leg at the Nyayo National Stadium. Yesterday, Percy Tau scored a double as Rami Rabia added another goal to dent Gor's hope of making it to the competition group stage in 32 years. I also see Gabriel strikes as Arsenal hit rivals Spurs with sucker punch in North London derby. That's on page 32. And Stars promise more glory after lifting Diamond League trophies in Brussels. And Zamalek coach Manuel says police can hit back despite having a first leg lead. Zamalek coach Joseph Manuel insists they are not resting on their laurels ahead of the second leg of the CAF Confederation Cup in Cairo, Egypt on Friday. That's what's being reported on the Standard.
All right, and coming down to the Daily Nation, I see the very first top story here is secret deals rock Ruto's regime. opaque, controversial, big money deals brokered behind a cloud of secrecy by President William Ruto's administration, including Indian conglomerate Adani Group's bid to take over the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. And it says that it has sparked protests and spawned court cases with potential dire ramifications for Kenyan taxpayers. That's what is the top story that is on pages 4 and 5, a story that we have been on for quite some time now. And still on the top page, I see why universities and schools are in turmoil. We have 30,000 members of 2 unions representing workers in public universities. And I see learning in public universities is set to be disrupted this week when lecturers begin a strike over a pay dispute, adding to the chaos in the education sector already rocked by grievances from the learners and their instructors. And the 2 unions have instructed their 30,000 members in public universities and constituent colleges to boycott duty from Wednesday this week over implementation of a salary raise stipulated in a collective bargaining agreement, CBA, that is due to lapse next year. This is the story that is well covered on page 2. And still on the top page, it's something in the counties. MPs in new plan to unlock 60 billion for counties. So MPs have initiated a process to unlock 60 billion shillings that the national government owes counties but cannot be released since the Division of Revenue Bill 2024 has not been passed. I wonder what this new plan is to unlock 60 billion for counties. Because with the finance bill not being passed, the money that was to be allocated, your direction, kidogo imekwama. But we continue to follow up on the same. That's a story on the counties. And coming to page 3, I see state lays out 6.7 billion shilling plan to manage and contain Mpox. PS, Acting Deputy Director General of Health, signed document outlining government strategy. And this is a story on page 3. And I think you did cover the same thing. But on your side was saying that it's not everyone who qualifies or rather would be able to get the Mpox vaccine. So you can combine that with a story that is also, highlighted in this case as well, to know who qualifies or who will be given first priority. And of course, page 4 is about the big money secret deals. And I see here Okiya Omtatah saying, we are not selling our birthright for a bowl of soup. Even if the government forces through these deals, Adani will not access the airport and those other infrastructure. This is definitely a heated conversation, and it's in the mouths of everyone, including churches. It's being used as an illustration. It's being used because now you see the scandals that Adani has had in the past. You wonder, ukiona kitu imekuwa ikianguka kwingine, you must be very careful.
Very cautious
about involving. And these are not even things that are in secret.
No, it's in the public domain. Out there.
So they knew definitely that these people were not to be trusted. But then we see ourselves here. Let's keep praying, because whatever God has not decreed must not happen in our country. Only God knows what this would mean for our Kenyan citizens. But moving on, I see here, page 7, developers billions frozen in apartments zoning row. Projects worth over 20 billion in jeopardy as residents associations vow to protect their rights. And I see courts have become a new battleground for investors and the residents fighting over implementation of policies. And lastly, on the national news, I see Kenya powers coup on consumers over high bills. You might have to rethink before rushing to court because your case might be dismissed. A story on page 8. And moving on to the county news, of course, is what we had mentioned about the MPs making sure that they are devising a new plan to unlock 60 billion for the counties. And still on the counties, I see here that meetings on tea factories autonomy to be held this very week. On the international news, I see here that Congregational Black Caucus Foundation's Phoenix Awards dinner, that is what is being reported. We have slim majority backs Trump tariffs plan survey shows. I see Harris has an overall 5 percentage point lead nationally. And page 19 of the business here, I see concern as 5 top SACCOs show poor financial health. And coming to the back page, I see Al Ali expose Gore's frailties on big stage. Kogalo, who have not gone past the group stage of an African tournament in 5 years, have a mountain to climb when they play the Egyptians in return leg match this coming Saturday. And lastly, on the same, I see gift of the Gab, Gabriel's bullet header earns Arsenal derby win. And page 30, Cherotich lays claim to a place at the high table. This is 20-year-old pulls off stunning win over Olympic champion Wilfred Yavi. And that's it for the Daily Nation.
Right, and quickly, the Business Daily, they say how deleted emails, SMSs may derail NSSF bonds trade probe. And SACCO loans deposits gap hits 76 billion shillings on increased borrowing. And I see M-Kopa ordered to pay taxes in Kenya, and then state suspends tolling plan to map new roads. Now, the plan to introduce toll stations on key highways across the country has been suspended, the Treasury has revealed, pending fresh identification of roads for the pay-for-use scheme. You remember Thika Superhighway, the Southern Bypass, they were earmarked for tolling. Yeah, but now, due to a lot of hue and cry, the government, they have suspended.
Wow.
Yeah. I think wacha wajenge zao, wacharge. Yeah, because these are from the previous regimes.
True.
Yeah, so
True.
Yeah, now they didn't toll us. So why are you doing it now?
Why begin now?
Hey, let's continue to pray for this nation.
It
shall be well.
It shall be
at
well.
the end of it all.
At
It is not well.
yes.
You know, we were in church and we were told when things are not well, don't force. They are not well. If things are not well, if you're not doing well, just say, own up, I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
Unajua sasa sisi wa Kenya, we are like, niko poa tu, niko piti.
Niko piti.
Ikiwa huko piti, huko piti. You know? Anyway, let's continue to pray for our nation.
Absolutely. And we've come to the end of the newspaper review. I see time is really far much spent.
Yeah.
But let us just take a few minutes to look at this VOD, and then we'll come back and talk about it.